present to you about our materials, which is Mots, Mots, and Lots. Enjoy! So today we are going to discuss about lots, mots, and hots that we use in daily life. Okay, before we go further to the lots, mots, and hots, let's take a look at the theory underlying these three big things. So, lower order thinking skill, middle order thinking skill, and higher order thinking skills are made based on taxonomy blooms. In taxonomy blooms, there are these kind of steps. There are create, evaluate, analyze, apply, understand, and remember. In create, the students are wished to be able to combine parts to make a new whole. And then in evaluate, they are asked to be able to judge the value of the information or ideas. In analyze, they are asked or they are wished to be able to break down the information into component parts. And then in apply, they are wished to be able to apply the facts, the rules, concepts, as well the ideas. Meanwhile, in understand, they are wished to understand what the facts mean. And then in remember, they are wished to be able to recognize and recall facts. Those are based on blooms. Here, the explanation above are based on the taxonomy of educational objectives, which are consist of knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. If you go back again to the steps, you can see that the below is the biggest, meanwhile the one up is the smallest. But here, if you pay a lot attention to this, it's not started from the top bottom, but it started from the bottom top. So lots is starting from remember, and create is the highest order thinking skill or the higher order thinking skills. Later, I will explain to you about the separations of these. So which one belongs to lots, which one belongs to medium, and then or middle, and then which one belongs to higher. Because the separation in taxonomy blooms is actually only consists of two, which are lots and hots. Meanwhile, later it will be improved by Anderson and Cresworth, in which there are three separations, which are lots, mots, and hots. If you pay attention to the picture, as I've said before, that Bloom only separated these into two steps, which are lower order thinking and then higher order thinking. As you can see, in lower order thinking, there are remembering, understanding, and applying. Meanwhile, in higher order, there are analyzing, evaluating, and creating. If you remember, in every beginning of the semester, we teachers especially reminded of the use of C1, C2, and so on and so forth. So, lower order thinking skills belongs to kata kerja C1 until C3 or C3. Meanwhile, higher order thinking skill belongs to kata kerja C4, C5, and C6. As you can see in the table, in C1 we have mengingat, in which in the definition it's only taking the knowledge that is relevant from the mind. And then in C2 we have memahami, in which it builds the meaning from the learning process, including spoken, written, and pictures. While in C3 we have menerapkan atau mengaplikasikan. The definition is do, using the procedure in the situation, in uncommon situation. And then in C4 we have menganalisis, in which here the students need to analyze and then to split them to the parts or analyze the structure. And then in C5 we have menilai or mengevaluasi. Here we make consideration based on the criteria or the standard. And then lastly we have C6, in which it belongs to mengkreasi or mencipta, in which we put together the aspects to make them or to have interconnected connection between one another using the aspects that the students have already learned before. So it's in higher order. Now, based on Anderson and Creswell, they have already separated the verbs into three categories, which are LOTS, MOTS, and then HOTS. In low order thinking skill, we have mengetahui, in which they remember, and the verbs that we can use is remember, register, repeat, or yeah. And then in medium, we have mengaplikasi and memahami, in which almost the same with Bloom taxonomy, but here they separate it into three categories. And then the last one we have HOTS or HOTS, or we call it higher order thinking skills. Here we have mengkreasi, mengevaluasi, and menganalisa. In mengkreasi, we have mengkreasi ide gagasan sendiri with the verbs that already written there, and then mengevaluasi, mengambil keputusan sendiri with the verbs that already written there as well, and then menganalisis, menspesifikasi aspek-aspek atau elemen with the verb that is already written on the table. Okay, so here, higher order thinking skill is an assessment that requires the ability to reason, think logically and creatively, as well as the ability to interpret, look for relationships between concepts, and the ability to transfer concepts from one concept to another. So here in higher order thinking skills, it's not only assessing the students based on their factual knowledge, conceptual or even procedural knowledge, but it's more deeper than that. So they have to be able to analyze, they have to be able to see beyond the only theories that they got from the teachers. They are asked to be aware of the knowledge in the society. So according with Dana 2016, in higher order thinking skill in C4 or menganalisis, it demands the students of the ability to specify aspects or elements, analyze, organize, compare, and find implied meanings. Here we can use this C4 in multiple choice, as well as in maybe we can also use like fill in the blank for the students, so the students will be able to focus on analyzing, especially maybe in like the readings, in like reading comprehension and so on and so forth. C5 or C5, in which it focusing on evaluating. Here, it demands the students of the ability to formulate hypotheses, solve problems, reflect, criticize, prove, predict, assess, test, or even checking whether it is true or false. Here we can use the question such as defining whether the statement is true or false, and we can also in science maybe proving something, whether it is really happening or not, that kind of things. Last, in higher order thinking skills, we have C6 or C6, which focus on creating or mengkreasi. Here, it demands the students the ability to design, build, plan, produce, invent, renew, perfect, strengthen, beautify, and compose. So here, the example of this category is maybe like when you tell them to make procedure text, in which you ask them to make a video making something. Here they are asked to do the C6 instructions. Here, please keep in mind that teachers should not be stuck in the use of KKO or kata kerja operasional, because we have to remember that the realm of KKO or kata kerja operasional is strongly influenced by what thought processes are required to answer the questions given, because it is not impossible if the verbs menentukan or define in thinking process, memahami or mengaplikasi, maybe it can be in evaluating. Okay, so you should not be stuck in that, but you have really pay attention to the thinking process and then the answer of the questions given.
Good afternoon everyone, my name is Fatmawati Hidayah and I will continue Ya's presentation about thoughts, mots and lots. Now we will discuss about mots or middle order thinking skill. As we can see from its name, it is the middle stage of someone's cognitive level. So it is a level higher than the lots or the lower order thinking skills. In middle order thinking skills, the process includes the process of understanding and the process of applying, while actually in the original version of Bloom's taxonomy, middle order thinking skill wasn't exist. So Bloom only divided the taxonomy into two levels, which is lower order thinking skills and higher order thinking skills. And understanding and applying was included in the lower order thinking skills. But later on in 2001, his students, Anderson and Cradwell, made a revised version of the taxonomy. And then they divided the taxonomy into three levels, which is lower order thinking skill, middle order thinking skills, and higher order thinking skills. And then they put the process of understanding and applying in the middle order thinking skills. In middle order thinking skills, the understanding process can be defined as explaining ideas or concepts. So, you will know if our students understand the lesson material when he or she can explain the ideas or the concept of that lesson material. And then some verbs that marking this understanding process are classify, describe, discuss, explain, identify, locate, recognize, report, select, and translate. So we can use some of these verbs in a questions in the middle order thinking skills level. Meanwhile, the applying process in middle order thinking skills can be defined as using the information in new situations. So we know that someone is in applying process when he or she can use the information that he gets previously in a new and totally different situations. And then some verbs that marking this applying process are execute, implement, solve, use, demonstrate, interpret, operate, schedule, and sketch. So we know if a questions in the middle order thinking skills in applying process when we see some of those verbs in the lower order thinking skill, or we usually call it lots. Based on Bloom taxonomy, the lower order thinking skills include the process of remembering, understanding, and applying. Remembering is the process of recalling the facts and basic concepts such as defining, duplicating, listing, and memorizing, while understanding is the process of explaining ideas or the concept, such as classifying, describing, discussing, and explaining, while applying here is the process of using the information in new situations, such as Meanwhile, according to Anderson's revised taxonomy in 2001, lower order thinking skill is only at the level of remembering, which is recalling the facts and the basic concepts. Next, I will show you the example of lots, mots, and hots in English lesson exercises. So this is the example of lower order thinking skill questions, and this is in the form of multiple choice. In number 1, X is asking what is your name, and then we need to find the suitable answer for that question. And then the correct answer is A, which is my name is Umar. And then in number 2, we're supposed to find the suitable questions for the answer I am 9 years old. And that suitable question is in C, which is how old are you? So with this kind of questions, we already know the pattern. Like if we are asking what is your name, we already know what we're supposed to answer. So it doesn't need a higher order thinking skill. It's a kind of easy questions. Next is the example of medium order thinking skill questions. It's in the form of arranging the jumble words into good sentences. In order to make it into good sentence, we need to think a bit harder because we need to know what a good sentence looks like, and then we also need to know the correct grammar, punctuation, and etc. Plus one is the example of higher order thinking skill questions. Now this is in the reading comprehension questions such as what reason is there for the characters to do something, or analyze how the characters' feeling change in the story. And number 3, how would you feel if this happened to you? And Number 4, how would you solve the problem? So in order to answer this kind of questions, we need to really understand what's written in the written passage perfectly. Alright, that's all for our presentation today. Thank you for your attention. Have a nice weekend and goodbye.